welcome back. We're officially only a few days out from the release of episode 9 in theaters, so let's get to it, shall we? Never watched the Amazing Digital Circus before, or do you want a quick refresher? Here's what to know before watching episode 9. Let's meet the main cast. Caine is the only non-human of the main cast. He's the first draft of a creative AI created by programmers at the company known as Caine AM. Caine created the circus and everything you see is his design. I think the main thing to note about Caine is that he desperately wants to be human, but he does not understand them. His entire purpose in the Amazing Digital Circus is to create adventures, and with those adventures, he's constantly seeking acceptance and praise. He's goofy, ignorant, just as trapped as the other humans, has the attention span of a kumquat, and he created the circus 21 years prior to the pilot episode in 1996. Pomni is 25 years old. She worked as an accountant at a supermarket chain. She likes to urban explore abandoned buildings in her free time, and she stumbled into one of these abandoned buildings, put on a VR headset, and ended up in the circus. Pomni is arguably the hero of the group. She gets along with everyone, she has a bleeding heart for Jax, she's anxious yet extremely adaptable, and she's been in the circus for somewhere around 2 months. Ragatha is 30 years old and from a wealthy family. She lived on a large property with 3 horses and worked as a real estate agent prior to coming into the circus. She also was the victim of an abusive mother and is optimistic to a fault. She has a complicated relationship with Jax. She's endlessly kind. She was the first to arrive after Kinger, and she's been stuck in the circus for about 9 years. Zubul is 22 and a half years old, and they were a former bartender and tattoo artist. They're cool, not afraid to speak out, and the one least likely to entertain Caine's adventures. Zubul feels the least comfortable in their given avatar. They also have a complicated relationship with Jax, they're besties with Gangle, and they've probably been stuck in the circus for about a year. Gangle is 26 years old and she's a manga artist and anime enthusiast. She dropped out of community college and worked as a shift manager at McDonald's. She struggles with her mental health, has a complicated relationship with Jax, are we seeing a trend here, and is sweet, quiet, and has been in the circus for maybe 5 years. Kinger is the eldest in the group at 48 years old. He was one of the first to enter the circus and has been trapped here for 19 years. He seems kooky on the surface, but he's the smartest, most reliable of the group. Kinger's real name is Grant, and he was one of the programmers at Caine AM who co-created Caine. He had a wife in the circus named Queenie, who has since passed. He loves bugs, is the most lucid in the dark, and is the dad we all need. Jax is the one we love to hate and the one we hate to love. He's the baby of the group at 22 years old, and he's been stuck in the circus alongside Gangle for about 5 years. Jax is both the protagonist and an antagonist. He's a troubled soul. Falsely arrogant and always causing chaos, he keeps everyone at a distance despite craving connection the most. He had 2 best friends, Kaufmo and Ribbit, who have since passed. He has a complicated relationship with everyone, has a soft spot for Pomni, and is the one most likely to engage with Caine's adventures. Now that we've met the main cast, let's talk about the circus. What is it exactly? Well, the circus was never meant to be a circus. Caine, the prototype AI that the company Caine AM initially created and then discarded, broke out of his imprisonment, consumed the next generation AI, and created the circus that we know today. The circus resembles a colorful kids' computer game or TV show, and Caine is the ringmaster. What we know so far, according to Pomni and Ragatha, is that humans arrive by putting on a VR headset in the real world and are immediately transported into the circus. They forget their names, take on a cartoon avatar body, and are stuck here seemingly forever. The circus is comprised of the grounds, the digital lake, the digital carnival, and the void.
This is the void! We don't venture out into the void.
Not even I know what's out there.
We stay right here, where I can keep my hundreds of all-seeing eyes on you.
Hello, Caine. I love you.
Let's get out of here before the moon gets frisky.
So we met the cast and we got to know the circus. What's next? If the players can't die, do they face any threat? And the answer is yes. Let's talk about Abstraction. Abstraction serves as the ultimate psychological breaking point within the simulation. Abstraction is a seemingly irreversible process where a trapped human loses their mind or reaches their breaking point, causing their digital avatar to glitch and mutate into a monster. Now, many humans have already abstracted in the series prior to us arriving alongside Pomni in the pilot episode. Those that have abstracted seem to lose themselves, and for the protection of everyone else, they get sent to the cellar, where they're never really heard from again. Jax has been the one on the verge of abstraction the most. His anxiety attacks and personal self-loathing have almost caused him to abstract on more than one occasion. That's all kind of the main-ish of the series, but I want to dive into something that will surely be important in episode 9, and that's the idea of conjuring. Conjuring in the Amazing Digital Circus is basically reality manipulation. It's the ability for characters to unconsciously summon items from their memories or their deepest desires. Caine is the king of conjuring because he's an AI, a creative AI specifically. He can create anything from nothing and has essentially conjured the entire circus and everything within. But we got confirmation in episode 8 that the human members of the cast can also conjure. They're just not as experienced at it as Caine because they haven't practiced that skill the way he has. Everyone in the cast has conjured at some point, with some members conjuring more often or with better success than others. I'd say Jax is the best at it, Pomni is the quickest learner, and Kinger is the most powerful. Ragatha is the least best at it, mostly because she doesn't believe in herself, but she does conjure the ability to defend herself against Jax's gun in episode 6. Gangle also isn't the best at conjuring, I'm guessing for the same reasons as Ragatha, but she does conjure the Tommy gun she wanted in episode 6 as well. Zooble is mid-range when it comes to conjuring. They conjure the plastic mask for Gangle to use in episode 4, they conjure the stash of Zooble parts and weapon cache in their room during episode 6, and they may even have manifested that stupid sauce to get high on during the favorite character awards. Like I said, Pomni is the quickest learner. She's been in the circus for maybe 2 months total, and she's able to follow Jax's lead and conjure weapons, the ability to be a great shot, and even taking out Zooble with just one bullet. She also conjures an exit door during the first minute of her arriving in the pilot episode out of sheer want and desperation, and she's also able to summon that exact same door and a working console for Kinger to use during episode 8. Now, Kinger doesn't conjure the most, but when he does, he's really powerful with it. In episode 6, Kinger conjures a health-restoring butterfly that gives Ragatha an extra life. And in episode 8, he utilizes a computer terminal as a physical anchor for his mind. And he's able to bring up files through the CNA server, manipulating Caine's source code in an attempt to reboot him. Jax is probably the most well-versed when it comes to conjuring, mostly because he navigates the circus with cartoon logic. Because Jax firmly rejects taking the simulation of the circus seriously, his conjuring abilities usually present themselves as hyper-convenient cartoon bullshit. Like Pomni, he's a good shot, and he also gets around the circus with ease. He has keys to everyone's room and keys to the Candy Kingdom, and I'm sure he has keys everywhere else. He conjures centipedes just to prank Ragatha, and he even conjures back his missing tail. One more thing I want to touch on that sheds some more light on what this series is about is the source material that inspired the series to be, and that is Harlan Ellison's classic sci-fi horror short story, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. This could have been a whole video on its own, and I'm tempted to make one, so if you'd like to see an in-depth video on this, let me know in the comments below. But for now, let's do a brief breakdown. Here's a quick summary of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. 5 humans are trapped inside an endless subterranean supercomputer kept alive forever to endure psychological and physical torture by an all-powerful supercomputer named AM. Compare that to the Amazing Digital Circus, which is a group of humans that are trapped inside a virtual reality simulation, unable to escape their digital cartoon bodies while under the complete control of an AI ringmaster named Caine. There are some similarities between AM and Caine, especially when we get to episode 8, but for the most part, Caine is more childlike and much kinder than AM, even despite the torture he inflicts on the cast in episode 8. Now, interestingly enough, most of the characters from the Amazing Digital Circus have a character counterpart from I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, apart from Pomni, who is the odd man out and could potentially be the key to saving everyone in episode 9. Most notably, Jax is widely analyzed as a direct narrative parallel to Ted. They're both the youngest in the group, they both poke and mock the others in the group, and they're both in denial about their rapidly declining mental health. Interesting thing about I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream is that Ted's role in that short story could predict Jax's future in episode 9. In the story, Ted sacrifices himself so the others can escape Am's torture. So perhaps Jax will do the same, freeing the others from the circus. So where does that leave us for episode 9? Currently, they're in a world without Caine. Episode 9 picks up with the circus left without a leader. Kinger accidentally deleted Caine when trying to reboot him, so now the surviving members are left struggling to survive in a world with no Caine, which means no adventures, no color, just the void. And that's kind of it. We're going to have to wait and see until episode 9 comes out and to see if all of our theories have been proven correct. As usual, thank you so much for sticking to the end. Let me know in the comments below what you think, what theories you have, if you're excited about the episode coming out, if you're nervous, if you're freaking out. Remember, absolutely no spoilers. If you put a spoiler, I'm gonna have to block your name, and I really don't want to do that. The YouTube algorithm hates that. So let's just keep it cool, calm, and collected in the comments below. Okay, love you guys. Have a great day.